Hi guys, welcome to Backyard Conversations. Welcome to Backyard Conversations. Backyard Conversations. The backyard again. Episode 2. Episode 2. Episode 2. Episode 2. Anyways, yeah, I just finished my workout. I just finished doing Pilates, and now I'm here talking to you on Love 111 as I say that. I don't have like any specific topics that I want to talk about. Like when it comes to making these, I kind of just hit record and I do it. But one thing that I've been doing recently is healing, like being seen, and kind of that process of like in the past, even in the last one of these, like I was talking about how I'm ready to be seen. But the truth is, when it comes to that phrase of like being ready to be seen, you might be or might think that you're ready to be seen. You might think that you're prepared. You might think that, you know, that you're ready to be seen. And although it may feel like that, the truth of that phrase for me like resulted into the definition of like, you might be ready to be seen, but you haven't seen yourself yet. You haven't like fully accepted yourself and who you are yet. One of the things that I've been healing recently, and I hope y'all can hear me over the airplane, is that fear of being seen. And what has came up for me has been a lot of different things. A lot of like competition when it comes to how I was raised. Like growing up, I actually journaled about this, but I'm gonna put out like a vlog with that journal entry and stuff. But like growing up around my mom and my two sisters, it was always like kind of us, but like not really us like this. We weren't locked in. It was like we just existed around each other. But anyways, yeah, like growing up with other women in my family, especially women who weren't trying to heal themselves, were going around sleeping with all these other people, like all these things, right? Like trying to portray a certain image that isn't the truth of the core. That's besides the point. Those are just facts. Being raised in a environment where my mom raised, like we were always in competition with my mom. Like everything was always about mom, regardless of anything. Yeah, it's so interesting to like grow up and see all these like facts of like what was raised, like how I was raised. And I think it's this also brings me to the topic of like what I'm saying right now. A lot of people could be like, oh, but you're talking shit about your family, blah blah. First of all, they're not my family, and second of all, these are just facts. This isn't me talking shit. These are facts. And a lot of people do that in families, and not even in families, but like when you state the truth and the facts, a lot of people hate on it because it's the truth and the facts. Anyways, not saying that people are hating on it, because no one is, but these are just facts. And also like just watching the women in my family grow up, being the smallest child, a woman, and having to raise myself, like it's so like now when the way that I see the process of my first sister's life and then my middle sister's life, the way that I see the process, it's like, wow, like it feels like I'm like outside of the box of them three, and I'm just like, y'all do this because of this and this and that and this and that and this and that. Anyways, it's just so interesting to see. I was thinking about this earlier, how growing up, I always heard stories of like when my family lived in Mexico, when we were small, and my two older sisters, I would always hear stories about them being home alone because my mom would be out getting like effed by someone random, or I don't even know what she was doing. I wasn't even there, but that's how I came into this world. So anyways, yeah, like I would always hear stories about that, and like how my oldest sister would be the one that had to take care of me and my middle sister, the younger ones, because my mom was never around. And now that my older sister has her own kids, she does the same thing to her own kids. She leaves them, she does all this stuff. As I say that, there's a little baby lizard. Love that. What are the irony as I'm talking about the kids? Anyways, what are the irony? What is, anyways, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, it's just so interesting to see that. But like, even now, like, there's still so much like competition that I'm now observing, because I'm actually aware of it now. Like, back then I wasn't really aware of like the competition that was or that existed, but now I understand it, and I'm like, holy shit, like, why didn't our mom just celebrate us? Why didn't she just celebrate our wins along with hers? And I understand that why she didn't do that is because she doesn't even have that within herself. She doesn't even, you know, genuinely honor herself or love herself at that time. I don't know about now. I don't have contact with her, but you know what I mean? Like, if anyone else is going through this, I feel like this also happens within like men and like families, and just like man and woman families, where the father doesn't celebrate the wins of the daughter. I mean, doesn't celebrate the wins of the son if he's not like A1 athlete or football player, you know what I mean? Like, those are reflections of competition, like competing within your own family instead of like celebrating each other. And the reason why I'm actually talking about this is because growing up with the father that I did, he always celebrated all of us. He always celebrated me, even if I wasn't his like biological daughter. Like, that's a whole separate story, and I could kind of talk about that. And I don't know, side note, I actually want to find my biological father. But anyways, besides that, like, he always celebrated me. He always celebrated my sister, and like both my sisters. Like, even if he thought that, you know, we should be doing something different or could be doing better, he always celebrated us. He allowed my sister to move in with him when she had her baby, after my mom had kicked her out because we were living with her alcoholic pedophile boyfriend, who would literally walk in on us and like do all this shit and abuse and, you know, like all this stuff. Like, he would always celebrate my sister. My middle sister was always really into school, and I feel like, you know, that was her thing. Like, she was always like straight A's, like on top of her shit, like would stay after school, all that stuff, right? He would always like go pick her up after like band practice, and like if we ever needed anything, he was always there for us, and he would always celebrate us and cheer for us, and like he would always be happy for us regardless of what was happening, like regardless of what we did, what we say, what we think. Like, he would always be happy for us, because that's a good example of like the divine relationship that people are supposed to have, in my opinion, when it comes to celebrating people and having cheerleaders in your life and people who are genuinely happy for you, regardless of like, you know, what they think or all that stuff. Now, that isn't to say that he's like perfect or that he's the best father ever, because he definitely isn't. I also don't have contact with him, but I am so grateful that he was even part of my life and all that. But yeah, that was just an example of that side of the relationship. And there's plenty more, because a relationship, any type of relationship, father, daughter, mother, like sister, siblings, like romantic relationship, platonic, all that, has many different sides. Love the what's it called? The dragonfly just flew above my head. Anyways, there's many different sides to it. So anyways, but this is like the polarities that I am now observing, because I had a mother who wouldn't celebrate us, and everything was always about her, and the daughters always had to make her feel better and make her feel like she didn't screw up her life, and make her feel that she's doing good, and make her feel that she's this or the best mother or all this stuff. It was our job, at least for me, in my personal experience, I can't really speak for my sisters, but this is the overall view that I lived, it was always the daughter's jobs, our jobs, to, you know, support her and make sure that she feels good about herself so that she can thrive, whatever that seemed like to her. And when she was thriving, she would push us to the side and all that stuff. Anyways, yeah. And then I had the opposite, which is like the polarity of my dad. And he would always celebrate us, like he would always cheer us on, like he would always go all out for us, like he would always support us. So it's so interesting to like have those two different polarities in the observation now, that I am aware of this, and that I am like, oh, hold on, I always felt like I had to feel ashamed, or that I had to feel guilty, or that I had to feel bad, or that I had to feel like a SLUT, just because I was loving myself, just because I was expressing myself. Growing up in a Hispanic household, especially if you have curves and like all that stuff, like if you have like a ideal body in the male gaze, like you're always gonna be sexualized. And at least that was the case for me growing up, like always sexualized by the women in my family. And that's literally how it started, was because of the woman in my family. Growing up, I don't know if this happens in other Hispanic households, which I'm pretty sure it does, but growing up, the woman in my family, I'm talking about like, this was like years ago, but the woman in my family, I remember, would always smack my ass. And even like as I'm sitting here like analyzing these things and like being like holy fuck, like my boundaries were never respected by the women in my family. They were never like appreciated. I was always like shamed or guilt tripped if I ever felt good in myself, and all these things. If I ever like shined my light, like they would always like be like, ew, like. And it's not even words that these people say, but it's the energy that they carry. And it's just so like, grow the fuck up, bro. Like, this is why these women are still living the same cycles, because they're not happy for other women. I would always like, they would always touch me when I was like smaller, before I can even choose what to do with my body. Like, it was already being chosen for. And that is just so sad, because that happens in so many, I'm sure not even just in Hispanic culture, but it happens in so many other cultures, where the women are literally like being told, like, already people are already telling the woman what to do with her body, and like how it's gonna be used and all this stuff. And like, I remember literally like being small and like getting so mad to the point of crying, because I wouldn't want them to touch me. Until I got older, like that stopped, because I was like, fuck off, like seriously, fuck off. If a man were to do that with the relationship of their son, it would be looked at so fucking weird. Like, it would be looked at like, why the fuck are you touching your son like that? But when it came to the woman in my family, like, it was so normalized. And I'd be the one being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, don't even like touch me, don't, like, what the fuck? How the fuck is this shit normal to y'all? Anyways, that still happens in Hispanic culture. It still happens in families. That still happens with my older sisters and their family. And I've seen it, and like, even to the point of like the kids like screaming and crying because the parent does something that they think is funny, when realistically the child is feeling abused and like literally used. Like, it still happens. And these are literally just facts. And it might be a lot, y'all might be like, damn girl, why are you sharing this online? But it's the truth. It's like, dude, like, this shit fucking happens. And being a tia and feeling like you can't do anything, like, is the worst feeling ever. Like, feeling like you can't help your nieces and nephews get out of a situation that's just like so abusive and so toxic for them in so many different ways. Like, literally has been, out of all the things of being a tia, like, that's one of the things that, like, I would change in an instant. If I could do that for them, I would do it, like, in an instant. But anyways, yeah, this is just the process of, like, not only me healing myself, and yes, I am getting emotional because this sucks. It sucks that I had to be raised like that, and it sucks that, like, although I am healing and I am, like, rewriting a lot of generational books, like, there's generations that are still experiencing it, and I know I won't be able to, you know, it's not my job to heal all of it, but it just sucks to be, like, to witness that and still, like, doing your best but having to witness that is just like, what the fuck do I do? Anyways, that was a little side rant, but yeah, and that all ties into, like, the competition and, like, the being seen and fear of being seen. I remember like, like, the women in my family would always idealize that image of, like, having a big ass, a small waist, you know, because it's, like, the culture that they were raised in. It's the culture that they view as worthy. And when you're everything that they think is worthy, but don't see it in themselves, that's the reasoning of, like, or not even the reasoning, but that's the projection of, like, them. That's then the projection of them wishing they were something that they think that they're not. And that's where the competition comes in, when you celebrate yourself. I remember this one specific time where we, me, my mom, and all my sisters, we would always go do Zumba, and we would always go, and, like, I remember, like, anyways, as I was saying, I remember this one time we would go do Zumba, and I remember this one day, and this was the time where I was, like, severely depressed, like, literally was on the verge, like, of ending it, like, literally, yeah. And how I got out of that was, dude, anyways, that was a whole story within itself. That was, like, a whole, like, that was a whole lifetime within itself. But anyways, this specific day, I remember I had just had, like, I was just like, dude, you know what, I'm gonna just focus on myself. I had this internal conversation, like, I'm just gonna focus on myself and dance within myself. And I was going so hard that day, like, I was just, like, expressing so much. One thing about me is I love to dance. I love I love dancing so much. Like, it's literally one of my passions. Like, I've always wanted to dance. I remember this day specifically, I was just dancing, like, giving it my all, like, just, like, releasing so much energy and so much shit that was going on internally. And I remember, like, the people that were, like, working and making the milkshakes, if you know what if you know, you know, if the people that were making the shakes, like, the lady was like, oh my god, like, you're doing, like, you're literally so good at dancing. Like, she was, like, basically, like, hyping me up and was like, oh my god, and acknowledging the fact that, like, I'm good at what I want to do. And she was acknowledging me, and I remember just, like, everyone else started acknowledging me and was like, oh my god, I want to dance like her, type thing, right? And they were just, like, kind of, like, in awe, and I just, like, was taking it in, and I was, like, feeling grateful, and I was just like, oh, thank you, like, I appreciate that. Like, I'm just doing me, like, I'm literally just dancing within myself. And I remember, like, my parents' reaction at that time was, like, just to smile and stared at me like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you getting all the attention type thing. And it was just a weird ass vibe, and I don't know why, but I in my mind, like, I always see that, and it's just like the conversation in the energy has always been so big to me. Whether I knew that it was like energy or not, I always like was visual. I always was a visual learner based off your energy. So like the conversations with my mom would be like so weird and so empty, even to this day. Like looking back at the last conversation I ever had with her, like it was just so weird. Like, who says stuff like that? Like, what, bro? Anyways, that's besides that point. But anyways, yeah, like it was always like, oh, like, yeah, I was being seen, but like I was grateful and celebrating myself as well. But then my mom was just like, oh, okay, like no acknowledgement or like no conversation. And now that I'm like looking back at it, also this is just a rant, so welcome to my rants, literally backyard conversations. Now that I like look at it, like the relationships, like I would say relationships, because there were so many different phases between my mom and I are so weird, like were so weird. It'd be to the point where like I would only talk to her if I need to go do something, like genuinely I need to go get this done. Like that's the only moments where I would actually like conversate with her and stuff like that. And that's because of my own personal experience with her. And the thing is, I would also always feel guilty for doing that, for only talking to her when I really needed to, or only like being around her when I really needed to. But like I know that I was doing what I could, and after being manipulated and gaslit for 20 plus years and literally like having my whole mind like my whole perception and mind like literally fucking twisted, I had to do that, and I know that now. But I remember like I would always feel bad for the relationship that we had, but I would also feel bad that that's how I was protecting myself, because I always grew up making sure that she's okay and making sure that she's good and making sure that I put on a happy face just so that she can have the picture perfect like daughter mother relationship. And there's been things that she's done that literally where she tries to portray that, when realistically it's like your boyfriend is over here fucking raping your children and you're still going to hang out with him type thing. So yeah, very weird ass shit. It's very interesting to heal this and kind of like talk about this. This is literally free therapy, because but yeah, going back to like the competition and like how that ties into like being seen, and all of this that I just talked about literally goes into the littlest of details of like the whole of being seen and being scared to be seen. Because my mom never celebrated us. Only when she found it worthy, only when it was benefiting her, she would celebrate me. I can't really speak for my sisters because they're not here, and you know, but this is like the point of view that I had while being raised by this lady, was like making sure that she was always okay no matter like how dirty she did me, all this stuff. And I don't even hate her now, which is the fucking craziest shit, because I still wish her the best, because I don't hold any envy. Like I just rather keep my distance now, and that's like the growth that I've now get to experience, and the peace and the fucking clarity and the fucking like no more bullshit, no more like all this stuff. But how that goes into the fear of being seen is because since my mom never celebrated us growing up, she would only celebrate it if it was like worthy enough, instead of like celebrating all your little wins regardless of what they were. Like if it made you happy, like to celebrate that and say that and show that. And there's also a side to this where it's like reliant on the expression of the parent. But in my opinion, regardless, if you are a parent, in my opinion, regardless if you are a parent and you either show your child love, or you choose to keep it a neutral standpoint where like you don't say like oh, you're doing a good job, or like, you know, all this stuff, or like a compliment or anything like that, in my opinion, that's still gonna fuck with the child's mind, because you are a parent figure. You already have that energetic connection. You already have that soulful contract where it's like, this is where the parent, this is where I should feel safe, this is where I should feel loved unconditionally regardless of what I do, this is where I'm going to be supported regardless of what I do, this is where I am celebrated, this is where I am showered in gifts, this is where I'm showered in riches, this is where I'm showered in love. Regardless, you're still going to have that soulful contract regardless. I literally just got chills as I'm saying that. So in my opinion, like whether you show your child a certain amount of love or this, or you don't show your child this, like, or you don't do this certain thing, like, it's still gonna have an impact on your child. Love. I have no idea why I was saying that. Love how spirit just had to get that out. Oh, I was saying how it could be viewed as being reliant on the reaction of the parent, but I was saying, like, regardless, your child is going to have a reaction to how you react to what they are doing, because they're looking up to you, because they're viewing you as like an example, and all that. Like, so what you do literally is so important as a parent. It's literally vital for your child's literally peace and sanity. Love the butterfly. Growing up, being the smallest child, and growing up like with my sisters having kids now, and seeing my mom's relationship with her grandkids, like it's just so interesting. It's interesting to like see the different sides of things, of like how they each choose to parent their children and all that. And just the difference between the kids is it's so interesting to observe. But anyways, point is, yeah, we always grew up competing against each other, and even till this day, there's things my middle sister does, whether she's aware of it or not, that's like has that energy that's like, why are you, if I'm celebrating something, why are you putting it down? What makes me happy? Oh, here's an example, and this is no shade to my sister, it just is how she processes, and it has no effect on me, but it just is. One example is, since I love to dance, I love to embody my divinity, I love to twerk, I love to shake my ass, I love to just express myself in what makes me feel good and what makes me feel divine, like whether that be like my makeup or like what I wear or anything. But specifically when it came to dancing, I had posted a reel on TikTok I had posted a reel on Instagram, or like a post on Instagram, saying how I learned this dance, and in the dance, she was like dancing, and this literally happened yesterday, where I had a conversation where I was saying how I wanted space so I can dance more, and she was like, oh, is that what you posted on your story? And I was like, yeah, I posted it on my story, like it was like I learned it and it was so cool. And she was like, yeah, so you can twerk. Yeah, she said it in that tone. I was like, so you can twerk? And I was like, wait a damn minute, we ain't gonna speed past that like you ain't just said that. This is what I mean, but it's not even what the words are, but the energy behind the words, because energy is literally the first communicator. When you say it in that tone, it's like giving that energy of like you think it's bad, or you think it's something that's negative, when realistically it's like the most divine shit you can do for yourself as a woman, embodying her divinity. Like, that is the most beautiful experience that you can have within yourself. One of them, not the most, but like one of them, is just to embody yourself and express your divinity however you choose to do that. But again, I understand that she doesn't understand the sacredness of it, because she doesn't tap into that at all, because she believes that I don't know whatever she believes, but that's the same like version of like competing against each other. It's like me embodying myself and like expressing myself, but then her coming and being like, oh, so you can twerk? And then me being like, anyways. But that's her own perception, that's her own reality. And yeah, it's just so interesting, because that's only one example of like the competition. It's like her thinking that she's doing better than me just because I like to shake my ass and twerk or dance or express myself, you know, when realistically it's like, I'm standing in my divinity. If I like it, then celebrate me, just like I'm gonna celebrate you. If you read the Bible, if you tell me about a Bible verse, like, good for you. Like, I love that for you. Anyways, and this always happened growing up with my sisters and my mom. So yeah, it's just so interesting to see just like the hatred that is like put on people just because they like to exist and embody themselves. And this even happened with my older sister. Again, energy speaks louder than the words that you say. My older sister, we used to be close, but we only used to be close because she would take me out to drink and get shit-faced and literally get so high out of my fucking mind, and I would be the mother to her kids like for years. And she would go take me to get my nails done, like to play into this like role that she approved of. But once I stopped doing that, once I set the boundary of like, I'm not going to take care of your kids, I don't want anything to do with smoking or drinking or partying or any of that, and I don't like men and all this stuff, like, now it's like, oh no, you can't, like, you're a bad person, you're this and that and this and that. It's just like mind-blowing to me to like, this is really how people live. Not even, well, people, but like, dude, that sucks. Because I was once in that standpoint of living like that, but now that I'm not, I am so fucking grateful that I'm not. And I'm so fucking grateful that I've been sticking to what is true to myself and kind of discovering myself more and more. And that's not even to like, oh, I'm better than them, because I'm not. We're literally all just as equal. We're literally just as equal, but it's like you can tell, again, energy speaks louder than words. You can tell these people aren't genuinely happy. It's just a facade that they portray, and it's just sad to like see that. But the thing is, if we were all celebrating each other more, like, we'd all tap into our divinity more and more. And as someone who tries to celebrate other people regardless, like, you can, as someone who tries to celebrate people regardless of like what they are doing or what they think or anything like that, it's also oneself's responsibility to know when you're no longer putting your energy into things that aren't serving you, when you're no longer putting your energy, it's your responsibility to place your energy in things that are gonna elevate you. So yeah, like I said, like with my sister, with my middle sister, yeah, I like to dance and embody my divine femininity and embody my sacredness and kind of be in my divineness, but that doesn't mean I have to share that with her. That doesn't mean that I have to talk to her about these things, if that makes sense. So it's just like knowing where to place my energy now, I guess, is the ultimate result of this. And starting to surround myself around people and spaces who do the same, so that we can celebrate each other and it's not draining. So yeah. Yep. Thank you for coming to my backyard conversations. Love hearing myself talk about these things, because these are things that I just think about like within myself. I had an experience earlier where I was like working out. I'm gonna actually put the video on here, but I was like working out and I was like getting in my head about like, what if the neighbor comes out and like they see me, whoa, I just had deja vu. What if the neighbor comes out and they see me working out and they like do something because I'm working out? First of all, that's like PTSD from things that I've experienced while living with my mom and her alcoholic boyfriend. But just like even rewriting those phrases in my head, instead of like freaking out, being like, I know I'm doing something good for myself, so I don't have to make myself small just so that I can feel safe. Like, I can feel safe and express myself. I can feel safe and embody myself. And there are going to be people that are going to celebrate me, and there are people that celebrate me. Does that make sense? Anyways, yeah, I just thought about this right now, how also like when you, well, at least for me, when I'm around people who I genuinely like get along with, like, I never get tired. I never, like, my battery never drains, my energy never feels draining. I'm laughing, I'm like smiling, I'm having the best time ever, and I'm just having a good old time. But when I'm usually like quiet, or like if someone says something to me and I'm just quiet, I just observe it, and I am just existing in that moment. Especially if I don't agree with it, or if I don't like that phrase, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say it at all. I really listen to that, because who am I to like judge something that makes someone happy? Like that's not, if I don't have anything nice to say, that I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna stay quiet and be like, oh, good for you, like, good for you. Like, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say it at all, because literally who is anybody to judge what makes other people happy? And yeah, but anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. Let me know if you relate, or even if you don't, or let me know your perspective on anything that I talked about. Yeah, I would love to hear other people's perspectives, or other people's like stories and experiences with similar things. this is where I'm at in my healing journey right now. It's just like kind of seeing myself so that when I am seen by other people, I don't feel like I have to make myself small. I just know that it's because of this or this and that. And one example of this is like when I've walked into a room, like say you're like in a restaurant or something, when you walk into a restaurant and people stare back and look at you, or just observing you, it's because of your energy. It's because of your divinity. It's like you don't even know these people, but they're automatically like spotlight is on you. And that's happened to me so many times, but so many times I've been like, oh no, don't look at me, oh no, like literally gonna throw up, because why is anybody looking at me? Like, what? I don't understand. I don't understand. Anyways, but the truth of that is because the light within one already shines brighter before anything. Again, energy speaks before your words do, before you even know these people, before anything. So yeah, that's one example. Anytime that happens now, instead of being like, oh no, like instead of like shying away from it and be like, oh no, like nobody look at me, or oh no, you go ask that person, or you go ask if you can borrow this or that. Instead of doing that, I'm now being the one like, oh yeah, here, like, can I borrow this, or do you happen to have this, or setting my boundaries. I actually did this recently in the vlog that I posted on Instagram. The vlog that I posted recently, when we went to Disneyland, my sister started talking about like how the drinks have like alcohol in them or something like that, and I guess they drink, I don't know, but the driver was also planning on drinking, and I had said, hey, are you planning on drinking? And I was like, oh, okay, then can I drive, because I'm not comfortable with you driving while I'm in the car. And their response was, but it's only one drink and it's gonna fade away by the time we like leave. And I was like, it still doesn't matter, you're still taking in a drink and I'm not comfortable with that. Anyways, point is, they didn't end up drinking, but the value in that conversation was the fact that I was speaking up for myself and I was telling it how it is. And round of applause for me. Thank you spirit guides and ancestors, because they were literally like, as you motherfucking should in that moment. And yeah, it's just so interesting to experience that. Again, energy speaks before your words do. After that conversation, after me telling them that, the energy switched instantly. I was able to pick up on the energy, obviously spiritual psychic, anyways. I was able to pick up on the energy, and I can see that they were so angry, the fact that I had spoken up for myself, and I was just thriving, living, like I was still living and just in my divine still. But I can see that they were so upset that I had spoken up for myself, and it's just like, I have no idea why I even talked about this. I guess these are just things that have been on my chest to say. I don't know, but I keep forgetting why I'm talking about this. But anyways, yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's like speaking up for myself. It's like, instead of being scared to go ask for something, going and asking for it, because my energy is like, no, this is who I am, here I am present. And so it is like, I am present here and there's nothing that I need to fear. Ooh, I am present here and there's nothing that I need to fear. And the only reason why people get anxious or get scared to go ask for something or get shy or anything like that is because they're in their head about it before they even actually do it. The reality of the truth is you don't even know the outcome. Whether if you're telling yourself the story of what you think the outcome is, you won't actually know the truth of the outcome until you actually go and do it or experience it. So yeah, when you're present, there's no need to fear because you're experiencing the present moment. I just saw the clock and it said 50-50. But anyways, yeah, and instead of like having the opposite side of where like shame and guilt and all this, I'm starting to like rewrite it to be like, I'm doing so fucking good, I'm doing amazing, I'm looking good, I'm looking sexy, I'm feeling safe, I am feeling whole within myself. I know that I am deserving, I know that I am worthy, I know that I can speak up for myself. I'm not scared of anything because I go and confront the situation, confront the thing, and not even in a bad way, but it's more so just like knowing myself enough, knowing that I trust my discernment. I know when it's time to leave, I know when it's time to go, I know when it's time to nurture, I know it's time when it's time to go within myself. See, like, I've already known all these things, so now it's like, okay, I'm actually applying these things and nurturing them and being aware of whenever I have any doubt or anything like that. It's understanding that and being like, hey, but this is the opposite side of that, this is the truth of that. So yeah, anyways, so yeah, it's just like it's all a learning process, and it's all a learning practice. Instead of saying process, I'm gonna say practice now, because everything literally is a practice. Being kinder to myself, and instead of like allowing the voice of like my parent or my older sister or my middle sister trying to like make me like perceive myself in a certain way, of like myself thinking that, oh, they wouldn't approve of this, or they'd probably think that this or that, like instead of having those narratives in my mind, I'm starting to like change it and be like, oh, but this makes me happy, so I'm gonna embody what makes me happy. I'm gonna embody what makes me celebrate myself even more. And I'm gonna celebrate myself because I deserve to be celebrated. And the energy that I'm like living within this experience of celebration, I hope that made sense. Like, the energy that's behind the energy of celebration is it's like living in that energy of like celebration and laughter and happiness, and just embodying myself and loving myself and just being so whole within myself, because I didn't care what anybody else was doing or saying. I was just living within myself. Is the energy that I'm like embodying now, with a different look, with a different mindset, with an elevated perspective, with a more loving side to myself. So yeah, that's kind of the healing part of that, and kind of the process of what I'm doing to kind of rewrite these things. And I also know that being around people who are actually celebrating what I'm already doing, or who have similar goals as me, like, that would help so much. I was watching a video last night actually, where the guy was like talking about how he's like a famous YouTuber, but he was talking about how he always wished that someone in his city was like as motivated as him to put in the work of what it takes to get to the goals that he wanted to get to. And that's the type of people that I need. That's literally the type of people that I've been like literally praying for and asking the universe for, because when you do have people who are on that same path as you, who have similar goals, who have that drive, who are going to get it regardless, like, that motivates you times 10. There's also this like study, I forgot what it is specifically, but there's a study of like saying when you're a positive person and you hang around someone who's negative, they bring down your energy like 3 times as much or 3 times more than your positivity. They bring it down that much. But when you're a positive person around someone, when your like positivity is strong and you're around someone who's negative, you level their positivity. Does that make sense? And I was also thinking about how in science they always say like a plus and a negative are always like go together because they make us the opposite or something like that. But how the fuck is one negative and one positive gonna make something specific? Like one has to win, one or the other is gonna win. So it's either the positivity or the negativity. One of those is gonna win. They don't go together, which is why one of them wins. Anyways, I was also thinking about this in cells. If you have like negative cells in your body, but then you also have positive cells, they're gonna be fighting against each other. Like when your body is trying to get rid of any sickness or disease in the body, like whether it be a cold or runny nose or whatever, like your body's, the positivity is trying to fight that, but the negativity is the cold and trying to like combat that. Anyways, point is, I was literally thinking about this and how my intention is to meet more people who are as motivated, who are doing the same things that I'm doing, who want to help people and create and embody themselves and share their story and share their lifestyle and all these things and like stream and all this stuff, right? So yeah, my intention is to find more people who have similar goals and intentions as me, because I need more cheerleaders in my life. I need more people who are gonna celebrate each other. I need more women specifically in my life where we do celebrate each other and we help each other and are like just love each other and are happy for each other, and instead of trying to like one up each other or thinking that one of them is worthy and one of them is not, because we are all worthy. And I think it really just comes down to finding your people. So yeah, interesting, but love this little rant. I hope y'all had a good time listening to me rant. Let me know where you're at in your journey, or if you're like healing similar things, or if something came up within you as I was speaking. Comment it in the sections down below. And yeah, I love y'all, and I will see you in the next one. I'm about to go shower because I just finished working out, so I'm gonna go shower and then I'm gonna go live on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch if you haven't already. Anyways, see ya.